Hey everyone, this is Steve with the Core Extra Podcast. This is a special podcast. As you guys know, maybe you know or not, I work at Spring Grove Cemetery down here in Cincinnati. And I thought I would give a little podcast on the cemetery. Now, the best thing I can do is I can explain it, or I can read it to you and then give you a little bit of knowledge on it. So I thought I'd do a little bit of both. Number one, Spring Grove is a national landmark. If you are anywhere on calendars, or if you're on vacation, if you're anywhere, you need to come to Spring Grove Cemetery. It's on the National Historic Register. We're actually Spring Grove Cemetery and Arboretum. For you out there who don't know what an arboretum is, we got trees and plants. So, what I'd like to explain to you is why you should come here. Now, a lot of people think when you say Spring Grove Cemetery, they think of strictly a cemetery with bodies in it, and that's it. But this is way past that. You're almost in a park setting here. The trees are beautiful. The monuments are unbelievable. You could spend all day just walking in here. And by walking in here, we do have walkers every day. We have bicyclists every day. The only thing is you can't bring your dog in. We have trails, and they are literally marked. I think 0.5, 1.5, and 2-mile trails that you can walk. And you can see the beauty of the cemetery. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to stop all the time because of the different things that you see. Just reading the monuments is well worth it. It's well worth your trip here. Now, Spring Grove is the second largest cemetery in the United States. It's got 733 acres. The first one is Rose Hill Cemetery in California. Now, not only do we have 733 acres, we have 350 that haven't even been used yet. There's over 200,000 people buried in Spring Grove Cemetery, which is unbelievable when you think about it. We also have roadways in here, which is like 44 miles of road. So it's like going to Dayton if you took every one of the roads. You know, it's officially sanctioned as an arboretum. And if you have anything, if you like plants, trees, we have 20 state champion trees in here. Of those trees, the oldest one we have is a white oak up on section 101, and it's estimated at close to 350 years old. So, just to come in and see that. Now, when I say a 350-year-old tree, you're thinking it's 10 stories high. It's not. It has been struck by lightning, so it is a smaller tree, but the girth, the limbs that stretch out are unbelievable. So you have to come in and see that if you see anything. Spring Grove has 15 lakes. I forgot 2 of them. We have the most lakes of any cemetery in the United States. You know, just some of the oddball things. Ulysses S. Grant's parents are buried here. Not in Grant's tomb, because that would be Grant, but in their own tomb. That's an old joke. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Old joke. That's probably because I'm old that I would even think about that. The original Superman, George Reeves, was temporarily held here before he was shipped out to California. Or out to Hollywood, I should say. You know, you will find something to do in here every single day. If you came in every day, we have a huge Civil War section. Unbelievable thing to see. We have Civil War generals in here. I think there's 23 of them. Civil War generals buried here in Spring Grove Cemetery. You can go into our front office and you can get a map on the cemetery, and then you can get a sheet. We have all these sheets in there. Say you're interested in baseball players. You can get a sheet, and I think there's 25 baseball players. Now, most of them you haven't heard of, but you've heard of Wade Hoyt, Hall of Famer. voice of the Reds for a long time, played with Babe Ruth. We also have Miller Huggins, who was the manager of that 1927 team, Yankees team, that had Ruth, Gehrig, Wade Hoyt, and all of them on that. What's considered the greatest team of all time. Of course, us Cincinnati people think the 75, 76 teams are the greatest of all time, but, you know, I would have to say any team with Babe Ruth on it's got to be the greatest of all time. We have many different events that go on all the time in here. And if you go on springgrovecemetery.com, you'll be able to see our website, and you'll be able to see all the events that go on. And when I say events, we have car shows. We have a fire truck show. We have, our main one is the Beer Baron Tour. The Beer Baron Tour, one of our best-selling tours, is, and I think it's the only one they charge. You come in here to cemetery, they take you out. We have like 18 beer barons, famous because this was a brewery town, Cincinnati. You get to go to all those people's graves, stories told about them. Then they take you back afterwards, they serve you dinner, and all the local breweries bring their local beers, and you get to taste them. And I think it's all for like $40. I mean, it is a great night. It's a 4-hour night. We have our walks, our Night Owl Walk, which is it is probably the most popular. And it's free. And you go out during night and walk the cemetery and see different things. And you have storytellers telling you things about the cemetery. One of our most famous monuments is the Dexter Mausoleum. It looks like something out of a haunted movie. It is the only funeral monument in the United States that still is held up with flying buttresses. So for all you architect fans, we actually have a list in there about architectural design, and you can go around and look at all the architects. We have one for poets. If you're interested in poets, all the poets that are buried here. And you can walk the tour, and you can find them, and, you know, take your time and read the monuments on each person. We have Mr. Proctor, Mr. Gamble's in here. So we have very famous Cincinnatians in here. We also have Abraham Lincoln visited here in 1865. So you can imagine the people who've come through here. Another oddball fact is we used to have a jail in the basement of the Norman Chapel. And that was used for, and it's exactly the way it's said in the manual from that year, from the early 1900s, for people who were racing their carriages too fast. They had security who could literally hold them in the jail cell in the basement. Security carried weapons in. So it's a vast historical knowledge that goes through here. I recommend any single person that ever stops in Cincinnati to at least make Spring Grove Cemetery their one-time stop. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to spend all day here. You can bring a lunch. People lay out on the grass and eat their lunch. It is by far, don't think cemetery, scary, spooky. There's nothing scary about this place. Also, wildlife is abundant. We have swans on our lake. We have all different types of Canadian goose. We have ducks in our ponds. If you're here at twilight, we have fox running around. We must have 20 turkeys. We have deer. We have skunk. We have fox. I think I said that. I even saw a coyote one night in the back. So I'm telling you, this is the place to be. It has to be one stop when you come to Cincinnati. I'm going to let you go on the website, and you can look up anything else that you might find interesting on that. Well, this is Steve with the Core Extra Podcast, and I'm signing out. I know this is one of our long ones, but all I want to do is tell you we are going to Vegas, Kurt and I, this Saturday, and we are going to get the man in the street interviews again. That seems to be very popular. So we will interview people, and we'll let them tell their stories. Now, they might only be 1-2 minute stories, but we will put on more stories from Live on the Street. All right, this is Steve with the Core Extra Podcast, minus Kurt. Take care, everyone.